How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Wi-Fi battle. Today we're about versus Bradger from the Discord server in the underused tier. As you can see, I'm trying something different today. I'm using a Hisuian Zorua. Could call it the Little Cup Challenge or something like that, but I'm basically going to be using LC Pokemon in the higher tiers just to see how they do. Obviously, I know Hisuian Zorua can be used and underused. I know. It's not the point. The point is to challenge myself. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So looking at their team, I would say they probably lead with Ninetales. Is that my team? I think that might be one of my teams. So if I'm right, is that the Swords Dancer or is that the Choice Band Verizon? I don't actually know which one it is. I cannot remember for the life of me. I only used it recently as well. I would say we probably lead off with the Electrode so we can get off some nice and powerful Thunder Waves maybe. So that's what I'm going to do. If they lead with Donphan, we just switch into our own Donphan and just kind of go from there. And then Hisuian Zorua, with its Terra Fairy, could probably do some work against the Verizon. You know, come in with the good old checkmate over there. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And the battle begins. Good luck, have fun, Bradger. So they lead off with Donphan, as expected, I guess. And we lead off with Ball in the Electrode. Let's go ahead and I don't want to get hit by an Earthquake. I'm going to go into our Hydrapple straight away. There's no real reason not to go into Hydrapple. It's definitely a pretty cool Pokemon. To go into on a Donphan, because Ice Shard is 4 times super effective, but it's really weak, so it's like I'm not too worried about that. So they go for a knockoff. Gonna knock off our leftovers, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now I'm gonna go for a Fickle Beam. They do withdraw the Donphan. The reason I'm going for a Fickle Beam is because I can see the Goodra coming in maybe. Slime Ball does come in, which is the Goodra. I remember the nicknames. Nice and shiny as well. We go for a Fickle Beam. Unfortunately, we get the low power one, but it still does a lot of damage, which is incredible. Now I'm probably going to get hit by a Draco Meteor. I don't really want that. So I'm going to go straight into my Bisharp. Bisharp can definitely come in and sponge a hit. Now, the unfortunate thing about this particular situation is that Bisharp taking damage means we can't really fool them with the illusion. So Ice Beam comes through. Does little to no damage, which is always nice. And now I'm going to get my Stealth Rocks up. I don't see any reason not to. It does force a Rapid Spin. They go for a Fire Blast anyway. Oh, wow, that's going to sting. Stings a little bit. We go for a Stealth Rock. So they haven't taken us out because the Violet makes us super bulky, which is great. We got the Stealth Rocks up, which is going to be great against the Skeledirge and the Yellow Ninetales, and just generally putting pressure on the team. So what do we do here? What do we do? If they're going to go for a Fire Blast, I should go into Hisuian Arcanine. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Hisuian Arcanine can come in. We can definitely go for some stuff here. Like a Head Smash. Head Smash really hurts their team except from the Donphan. And Donphan doesn't want to take a Flare Blitz. So they go for the Draco, predicting the switch. And that's going to nearly take us out, unfortunately. But it's fine. We can handle this. So I'm going to go straight for a Head Smash. I don't really see any reason not to because they're probably going to go Donphan. But damage is damage at the end of the day. I know the Donphan's Rocky Helmet. I remember that. So Donphan comes in. I probably shouldn't have gone for a Head Smash. Probably should have gone for a Flare Blitz. But it is what it is, you know. If we miss, that'd be better. But we don't miss. As we get a nice bit of chip damage off on the Donphan, which is great. So Rocky Helmet does hurt. We can't stay in here. We're going to have to switch out. I'm going to go into my Hisuian Zorua because Hisuian Zorua can block the Rapid Spin, which is ideal in this situation. So in comes Pink Lady, the Hydrapple at full HP, as you guess. They actually go for an Ice Shard predicting the switch, but it is the Hisuian Zorua, so I'm not too worried about that. Nice and shiny as well. You couldn't see that before, but it's nice and shiny. Now looking at the team and I'm thinking Shadow Ball actually goes off really hard against their team. So I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball. They may stay in, as they do stay in. We are Choice Specs. Can we get the KO on this Donphan? That'd be nice. We do. Hisuian Zorua. They underestimated Hisuian Zorua. And now Stealth Rocks are up for good, which is amazing. In comes Slime Ball, the Goodra. Now I know this thing's Assault Vest. Definitely Assault Vest, but if we Terra Fairied and Terra Blasted, we could probably do some damage, but I'm not going to risk that just yet. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our Bisharp. I think Bisharp can go down. I thought I put Bisharp in the last place of the pie, so we should have transformed into Bisharp, not Hydrapple. But I could be wrong. I may be mistaken. But anyway, checkmate comes in. They go for a Draco and miss, which is actually really good for us because it means we get a free Sucker Punch off or an Iron Head. I am going to go for the Sucker Punch option because we want to get as much damage off on this Goodra as possible. As it does loads, we get the Gooey, which boosts our attack. So if we can get another attack off, that'd be amazing. As they go for a Fire Blast and hit, taking our checkmate out. So Bishop does go down, but the Gudra is weakened severely, which is great. Really good for us. So I'm going to bring Zorua back in right now. I don't see any reason not to bring Zorua disguised as Hydrapple in. Now, they obviously know it's the Zorua, but I don't see any reason not to go for a Shadow Ball right now. Like, I'm looking at the team, and Shadow Ball really hits hard. So there we go. Shadow Ball comes through from the Hisuian Zorua, taking out the Gudra, which is great. I think we have got a clear advantage here, though. I do kind of remember the team. Like, I know the Gudra's Assault Vest. I know what the Froligator is the only Froligator set you ever run, which is Dragon Lance Sheer Force. Skeledirge is defensive, I think. I can't remember. Ninetales comes in there. We all know what Ninetales does. It sets up Aurora Veil and stuff like that. So Snow Warning is going to come into effect. And now we have no way to stop them from going for what they're going to go for. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go into Electrode. And the reason I'm going to Electrode is because I want to Thunder Wave this thing. They may go straight for the attack. They may see Hisuian Zorua as a threat now and go straight for the attack, which would be interesting. So Electrode comes through. Aurora Veil is there, which is fine. We can handle that. If I can get a Thunder Wave off on anything on their team right now, it'd be really helpful. So I'm going to go for the Thunder Wave. I don't see any reason not to. There we go. Thunder Wave come through. And then let's see what they do. They may go for an Encore, which would be interesting if they do. They couldn't move because they were paralyzed. So I guess we'll never know, which is great. Great for us. So I don't want them to go for an Encore, so I'm going to go for a Taunt. I don't see any reason not to. So we'll go for a Taunt like that. Stop them from going for an Encore if they go for an Encore. As they couldn't move because they were paralyzed once again, which is very frustrating for my opponent, I must say. So I'm going to go for a Volt Switch now. I'm going to Volt Switch on out of there because they have to go for an attacking move now, right? So we should just go into something that can sponge a... They probably go for a Moonblast if I had to guess. So I'm going to let Arcanine go down. I'm going to let Arcanine go down real quick, like so. And at this point, I'm basically just trying to stall. Oh, they couldn't move because they were fully paralyzed again. That is just really unfortunate. You couldn't even write this stuff. You could not write this stuff. So let's go for a Head Smash. It's a 50-50 gamble for them. They can either go Virizion to take the Head Smash or Skeledirge to take the Flare Blitz. I could go for either. So I think we're in a good position as they actually just stay in and opt for the Alolan Ninetale to go down. So down it goes, which is fantastic. So unfortunate for the paralysis. Definitely unfortunate, but that's the game we play. In comes Levis, which is going to be the Virizion. Now, I still can't remember which set this is. All I need to know is that it outspeeds our Arcanine. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go into our Donphan. Donphan can definitely come in, and we can still use the extreme speed from Arcanine for later. It may only have like 1 HP, but it can definitely be used later for the extreme speed, or even just a sack play. So Donphan comes in. As they're going to Terastallize. What type are they going to Terastallize into? That's the real question. The real question. And they're going to go into a water type. A water? Was it really water that I gave it? I can't even remember, to be honest with you. I never remember my teams. Never. So they go for a Terra Blast on the switch, which is definitely going to sting poor old Donphan a little bit. As halfway down we go. But I just went for an Earthquake. I didn't even mean to. I double clicked by accident. Anyway, Terra Blast comes through. I should have gone for an Ice Shard, but it is what it is. But there we go. So now, all we need to do is sack off Electrode to get a Thunder Wave off. That's pretty much all we have to do, right? Yeah, sack off Electrode, get a Thunder Wave off, and then go into Hydrapple and start spamming Fickle Beam at this thing. So let's go for it. Let's go for a Thunder Wave, like so. Thunder Wave comes through. Definitely worth doing for the Virizion because it is a very fast Pokemon. It's the fastest Pokemon on their team, really. So with Levis out of commission, they go for a Terra Blast. We should be able to live one of these. If we can, that would be ideal. We do, which is great. As the Aurora Veil does wear off, which is fantastic. So, I don't know if it's the Swords Dance, so I'm tempted to go for a Taunt, but I kind of just want to go for a Volt Switch and Sack. So, I think I am going to go for a Volt Switch and Sack. I'm definitely going to go for a Volt Switch and Sack because we can still use the Electrode for later going for a Sack play. We can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sack off... If they're going for a Terra Water, we should just go straight to Hydrapple. So, because I think this might be the choice banded set based on the damage it's doing. So they go for another Terra Blaster. They must be the choice banded set. Otherwise, you'd switch up moves, wouldn't you? Then they go for a Terra Blaster. It's going to bounce right off Hydrapple, I'm afraid. Gets a critical hit. They more than likely go Skeledirge. So I'm going to go for a Fickle Beam real quick. They do withdraw Levis. And what are they going to go into real quick? They're going to go into Skeledirge. Skeletor the Skeledirge. We should go for a Figure Beam like that and see how much damage it does. Not too bad damage. They've already terrored, so maybe I should sack off Hisuian Arcanine, or maybe I should sack off Electrode. I'm leaning towards Electrode because we've got that wait, have we got Static or Aftermath? I'm sure we had Aftermath. I'm sure I had Aftermath. I could be wrong. Look at me, I don't even know my own teams. I don't know my own teams at all. So Torch Song comes through. That's going to definitely take out Electrode. Gets them a special attack boost, but I think we're Aftermath, aren't we? No? I guess not. I guess not. So that's fine. Hisuian Zorua can come in right now and put a lot of pressure on this team. As we go into Pink Lady, they basically have to let this thing go down to a Shadow Ball. They can't switch Verizon in because it's paralyzed, and they can't go into Feraligatr because it gets outsped. So Shadow Ball comes through. That's going to take out the Skeledirge, which is fantastic. I'm so happy Hisuian Zorua was actually doing something in this game, because I was going into the challenge and I was like, this is going to be tough. But it's actually working out pretty nicely. So Riptide comes in, which is the Feraligatr. We definitely don't want to play around with this thing because it could Dragon Dance and ruin our day completely. I am tempted to go into you and Terra Steel, go for the Energy Ball, but I'm also tempted to go for the Hisuian Zorua's Shadow Ball once again. I think Shadow Balling is the right play because they more than likely Dragon Dance like they have done. And Shadow Ball has a good chance of KOing this Feraligatr since we are choice specs. So let's see if we can do that. Let's go for the Shadow Ball. Hisuian Zorua putting the work in. Let's see if it works. Doesn't quite get the KO, which is unfortunate. So that means we're going to have to let this go down. So we'll let the Feraligatr take us out of an Ice Punch. That's fine. Hisuian Zorua has done its job. And it's done a damn good one as well. So now it doesn't really matter if it doesn't do much in the next game. But it's fine. It's fine. So we're going to go into Arcanine now. The best way we can deal with this thing is by going into Arcanine and going for Extreme Speed. That is pretty much the best and only way that we can do this. So I'm going to go for the Extreme Speed. I don't need to Terra. I know it's going to KO the Feraligatr. There we go. And now all we have to worry about is the Verizon. So with the Verizon, what I'm going to do is what move we go for, whether we go for Terra or not. I'm going to save the Terra for Hydrapple just in case we need it, but I don't think we will because they are paralyzed. So let's go for the Extreme Speed. It should KO from here, as it does, because we're choice banded. And that's going to be the game. So GG Bracket, that was a pretty fun one. I enjoyed that. It was interesting facing my own team, and it was especially interesting that I couldn't remember barely anything about it, even though we used it fairly recently. It just goes to show how much I pay attention to our teams. But GG anyway. And the second battle is here. We're going against Saze, also known as Combo King, from the Discord server in the underused tier. Looking at the teams, they've got a Vikavolt, a Ludicolo, Excadrill, Politoed, Toxicroak, and a Salamence. Pretty powerful stuff, if I do say so myself. So I think I do lead off with Electrode here. They could go straight into the Excadrill right off the bat, but if they do Excadrill, we'll just go straight into Donphan. So let's just kind of go from there. Once again, I need to pick the right Pokemon for... And the battle begins. Good luck, have fun, Combo King. So they're going to lead off with Politoed, nice and shiny, as we lead off with Ballin the Electrode. So this is not a bad matchup for us at all. They get the Drizzle up, which is absolutely fine. We could Terra Ice expecting the Excadrill, but I think I'll just go for Volt Switch just in case they don't. Because like I said, we've got Donphan as a switch into the Excadrill anyway, so we may as well just go for it. I'm going to go for the Volt Switch. They do withdraw the Politoed. Are they going to go straight into a Excadrill, or are they going to do a Vikavolt? Excadrill comes in. I was saying Vikavolt because Vikavolt can switch into Electrode and get the Sticky Webs up potentially, so we've got to watch out for that. So we go for the Volt Switch. It is going to, of course, just barely dodge. Well, not dodge. It's not going to do anything to the Excadrill, basically, is what I'm saying. So what do we do now? Because they have got the Air Balloon. So I am going to go Donphan still, and I'm going to go for a knockoff. I don't see any reason not to. There we go, going to withdraw our Electrode, and we're going to go into our Donphan. Donphan can take any hit this Excadrill wants to throw at it. No problems there, as there we go. So let's see what they go for. They go for a Stealth Rock. So Stealth Rock's an interesting one because they have no Ghost types on their team. So unless they're planning to Terra their Excadrill, in which case we'd be able to take out a knockoff next turn anyway. So let's go for a Rapid Spin because it'll break the Air Balloon and it'll clear away those Stealth Rocks. So they go for an EQ. It's going to sting a little bit, not too much though. Donphan is a defensive monster after all. We get the Rapid Spin off, which is going to boost our speed and clear away the Stealth Rocks and break that pesky Air Balloon. So now they basically have to either go for a Stealth Rocks, letting it go down, or they go for a switch. So I think I'm going to go for an EQ, expecting them to go for another Stealth Rocks, because they may want to get the Stealth Rocks up on the field. This will give them a free switch into Ludicolo, which will in turn make it so I can't Rapid Spin that turn anyway. So might be a good play, might not be. So they do withdraw the Excadrill. Are they going to go Vikavolt? Probably, right? As Ludicolo comes in. Ludicolo is an interesting one there. So it's nice and shiny, got all of it. We go for an EQ. That's going to definitely do some chip damage to the Ludicolo. Not too much. That's not too bad, actually. It's more than I expected. And now what we can do is we could either go Hydro Pulse or we could go into our Checkmate, the Bisharp. But the problem is the Water-type move from this thing is going to sting. So I'm going to predict a Water-type move, and I'm going to go into Hydrapple. If they go for an Ice Beam predicting the switch, then so be it. That's a really good play on their behalf. So we're going to withdraw our Donphan. We're going to go straight into the Hydrapple. We'll see what they're going to do as the Pink Lady comes in like so. They go for an Ice Beam predicting the switch. Good play on my opponent's behalf as Hydrapple does go down, which is really unfortunate for us. Very, very unfortunate for us indeed. So what do we do here? I could go Arcanine. I could go Electrode. I could also go into Bisharp. I could also go with Donphan and go Ice Shard and then Sucker Punch with Bisharp. But I think Bisharp is the best place to go for here. So we'll go into Checkmate real quick, like so. And then we'll just go straight for a Sucker Punch. I don't want to play around with no Ludicolos, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch real quick. So they do withdraw the Ludicolo expecting the Sucker Punch, which makes a lot of sense. And they're going to go into Salamence. Is Salamence going to have Intimidate? That'd be cool if it did. If Salamence has Intimidate, that'd be really cool. Intimidate comes through. Nice. He's going to activate our Defiant, which makes our attack raise sharply. And now I'm thinking about what they're going to do. And I'm leaning towards them not being Dragon Dance because they've got Intimidate. I'm leaning towards them being special, but they don't have much physical presence on their team. So I'm leaning towards it being physical. So I'm going to go for an Iron Head expecting a Dragon Dance. Iron Head comes through. We actually outspeed as they go for a Dragon Tail. So that's interesting. We get a +1 Iron Head off on the Salamence, which is great. And then we're going to go ahead and switch out. So what can we go into now? I would say Electrode. I mean, I don't get to choose a Dragon Tail. I forgot all about that, to be honest with you. So now that we know what's going to happen here, we need to go for a Terra Blast. Not a Terrestrialized Terra Blast, just a regular Terra Blast will do, because they're probably going to go Excadrill. So they do withdraw the Salamence. Are they going to go into the Excadrill real quick? They do go Excadrill, so we can break the Air Balloon real quick with a Terra Blast, which would be great. Oh no, we already broke the Air Balloon, but damage is damage at the end of the day. We go for a Terra Blast. It's going to sting a little bit. Not really. It doesn't do anything. Rain does stop though, which is interesting. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go straight into Donphan once again, because that Ludicolo cannot take too many of these Earthquakes. So we'll withdraw our Electrode, and we'll go into our Donphan like so. Donphan is probably the best Pokemon we've got for this Excadrill, to be honest with you, as they go for a Stealth Rocks once again. So that's fine. We can handle this. They may... I'm just trying to think what they're going to do here. So I'm going to go for Rapid Spin to get rid of those Stealth Rocks. They probably go into Ludicolo if I had to guess, but how well does it take a Ice Shard plus Rapid Spin combo? They withdraw the Excadrill. What are they going to go into? Is it Ludicolo? Politoed. Politoed makes sense. It's going to get the rain back up and everything. You can definitely take a hit from a Donphan. So there's the Politoed. Gets the Drizzle back up. We go for a Rapid Spin to get rid of them Stealth Rocks, like so. And then what do we do? Because this thing doesn't get Scald, that's for sure. We know it doesn't get Scald. Rapid Spin did a decent amount of damage. We outspeed the Politoed thanks to the Rapid Spin now, so we could EQ. If we assume they're going to go for a Water move because we haven't got a switch in though, that's also a thing. So we've got to be careful around that. So what do we do here? That is the real question. If we... I say we go at Electrode once again, because Electrode can definitely take a Weather Ball from this thing. If it goes for a Weather Ball, we can definitely take it, but can we do much in return? That's the only question. So let's go into Ballin and find out. They go for a Weather Ball. Let's see how much damage this does to Electrode. If it KOs us, it KOs us. If it doesn't, it doesn't, which it doesn't, which is great. If we assume they're going to switch into Excadrill once again, we should make that predict, and we should go into Arcanine and go for a Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz hurts everything on their team pretty hard, despite the rain. So that's not a bad play as well. But I feel like they don't switch out to Excadrill here, but they get a free switch because they know the only coverage move we're going to have is Terra Blast. So do we predict that? I say we go into Arcanine. It's a bit of a ballsy play because they could easily go for a Weather Ball here. But I think they go into Excadrill again because it's the best switch they can go for. So we have to make a play. They do withdraw the Politoed. Are we going to see an Excadrill switch? That would be ideal if we do. Excadrill comes in. So looking at their team, not a lot on their team wants to take a close combat. They won't go Salamence, that's for sure. Unless they sack off Salamence to get the Intimidate off. But either way, I want to go for a close combat here. So they do withdraw the Excadrill. What are they going to go into? They have to like sack something really, don't they? Salamence comes in and gets the Intimidate off. It doesn't actually though, because it's not got Hedge boost, has it? We got Stealth Rocks up, didn't we? No, we didn't get the Stealth Rocks up. So close combat comes through, takes out the Salamence, which is great. One less Pokemon to deal with, and we're finally making some progress here, so that's great. Ludicolo comes in. That thing is a threat. I think Terra Normal, Choice Band, Arcanine with Extreme Speed is going to be the way to win this, so I'm going to sack off Electrode. Oh, it does have Aftermath. In the last game, I didn't think it had Aftermath, but it's only moves that make direct contact, so that's good to note. So what do we do here? They definitely go for a Warp move. They know they get a KO here. Do we go into Electrode? I think Electrode is a fine switch, because if for some reason they don't go for a Weather Ball and they go for a Substitute or something, we could still outspeed potentially, because we're just that fast. They go for a Hydro Pump, see if we miss that, that'd be nice. But no, Hydro Pump's going to take out Electrode, no problem, as down it goes. So, what do we do here? If we go Bisharp, the Sucker Punch will scare in the Toxicroak. If we go into Arcanine, we scare in the Excadrill. We could go Zorua, but Zorua doesn't outspeed, so there's no point. I think the best thing we can go for is sack off Donphan to get the Ice Shard chip. That way we can finish this thing off with Arcanine's Extreme Speed. I think that's the way to go, so I'm going to do that. Because Excadrill doesn't have the most amount of switchings on their team, and the more they switch, the more they lose the range. So let's go for an Ice Shard real quick. So we go for an Ice Shard just to let them go down. Hopefully they don't have Giga Drain. They have Hydro Pump, which is great, which is going to take out Michelin, unfortunately. So I noticed they didn't have Life Orb recoil, so I figured they were probably Specs as well. Or Heavy Duty Boots or something like that. But now we can go to Arcanine. Terra Normal Extreme Speed is definitely going to take out this Ludicolo from here. So let's go into it real quick. Like so. And then we'll Terra into a normal type and go for an Extreme Speed. Pretty much the only thing I can really do. It's the only thing I can do. So they do withdraw the Ludicolo. Are they going to go into the Excadrill, or are they going to sack off something else? They go into the Excadrill, which is fine. Excadrill is more than welcome to come in right now. I guess the Mold Breaker and all that stuff doesn't really matter. As we are going to go straight for a Extreme Speed, Terra Normal, and that should take out the Excadrill from there. Should? No, it won't really. It won't take out the Excadrill. It definitely won't take out the Excadrill. I don't know why I even said that. It'll do some damage though. That's for sure. So Extreme Speed comes through on the Excadrill, like so. It doesn't matter a good amount of damage, to be fair. It'll definitely take out that pesky Ludicolo. That was a crit. So now what do we do? So if we assume they're going to go for a Earthquake, we should sack off, well, Bisharp can take an Earthquake. So we should go into Bisharp and Sucker Punch. So we're going to withdraw Arcanine. We're going to go into our Bisharp, because Bisharp should probably go down to this Excadrill, to be honest with you. Probably will. They go for a Stealth Rock though. That's actually not too bad for us. Stealth Rock's not too bad at all. We can go for a Sucker Punch and potentially get a KO on here. But the rain is going to stop. So I think they're going to use this as an opportunity to go into Politoed. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go for a Swords Dance just to get that extra power. So I am going to go for a Swords Dance. They go for an EQ, which is going to take us out, right? Doesn't take us out because we're that bulky with Eviolite. We get a Swords Dance off, which is fantastic. And then we kind of have to go for a Sucker Punch here, even though they know that we have to go for a Sucker Punch. So let's go for a Sucker Punch anyway, because they might go for a Stealth Rock again to try and stall out the Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch mind games are always fun. Sucker Punch comes through. They actually attacked, and Excadrill goes down. So now we're in a very good position with Hisuian Arcanine. Hisuian Arcanine outspeeds pretty much most of their team outside of Rain. So we should be all right. And they've only got one Swift Swim abuser. So Vikavolt comes in. Interesting. So Vikavolt is in and nice and shiny as well. Gotta love it. So they probably go for a Sticky Webs here, right? So should we go for an Iron Head? Or do we go for a Sucker Punch still? I'd say we go for a Sucker Punch still. I think we still go for a Sucker Punch. I think they stay in and try and tank it. Sucker Punch comes through. They actually do try and tank it as they live on a sliver of HP. Not even focus, not even focus Ashed. That is just really unfortunate for us. So now the best thing for us to do is to get as much damage off on this thing as possible with Hisuian Zorua. So Hisuian Zorua can come in. It's going to get some Stealth Rocks, and we are obviously outside of the Illusion range. We can't go for an Illusion right now, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So what we're going to do is, there's no reason not to go for a Shadow Ball here because it hits everything. So I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball first. Take out this Vikavolt like so. There we go. And Vikavolt goes down. So now they have to bring Politoed in. And we'll see how much damage Politoed takes from a Choice Spec Shadow Ball from Zorua. Politoed comes in, which is great. Have they Terra'd yet? I don't think they've Terra'd yet. Salamence went down, Vikavolt went down, Extra went down. They haven't Terra'd yet, so we've got to watch out for Terras, of course. I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball anyway. Well, switching out isn't an option. We need extreme speed on the Arcanine. So Shadow Ball hopefully does enough damage. Not quite enough damage as they go for a Weather Ball, which is definitely going to take us out, unfortunately, as down goes Zorua. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now, we just need Choice Band Arcanine's extreme speeds to do the job. So based on the Shadow Ball damage, if we assume they are more specially defensively inclined, we should go for an extreme speed still. I think extreme speed is the only way we can win this, right? They withdraw Politoed. What are they going to go into? Are they going to go into the Toxicroak or the Ludicolo? They go Ludicolo to try and... I don't know what they're doing here. I have no idea what they're doing with the Ludicolo, but we go for an extreme speed, Terra Normal. And that's going to definitely take out the Ludicolo from there. There we go. So Ludicolo is out of the way. There's a bit of a gap, but we're kind of clearing that gap now with the help of Hisuian Zorua's Shadow Ball, weakening the Politoed, and the extreme speed from the Arcanine. So they go Toxicroak. Definitely go Toxicroak. That's interesting. So what are they going to do with Toxic? Why are they looking up like that? It's looking right up into the sky. Let's go for an extreme speed real quick. So we go for an extreme speed. Hopefully we can live whatever move they go for. Like, I'm hoping the special. Oh, it barely even avoids the KO as they go for a close combat. That's going to KO us, I'm afraid. As Arcanine goes down and Toxicroak wins them in the game. So we did lose the second game. We won the first one. So not a bad set of battles, to be honest with you. GG Combo King. That was a really fun one. It came right down to the wire in the end. As the Toxicroak is going to go down to the Life Orb, leaving Politoed the only Pokemon they have left. So it's a nice 1-0 victory to my opponent. Pretty fun game. I enjoyed that one. Thank you.